It was 6:38 p.m. on a Thursday when I realized the glove box wasn't latched the way I left it. I'd just gotten back from work, slid into the driver's seat, and went to toss my sunglasses in. Instead, the compartment gave a soft clunk, not the smooth snap it usually made. I froze, not because of the glove box, because 2 days earlier, that car hadn't been mine. It had been Brian's, at least temporarily. Let me back up. I'm 31, single, and live in a second-floor walk-up in Louisville, Kentucky. It's the kind of building where you hear your neighbor's arguments through the vents and the water takes a minute too long to heat up. My job's stable, a field service technician for a telecom company. Nothing flashy. I carry tools, fix problems, and keep to myself. The car is a 2013 Honda Accord. Gray, boring, reliable. My dad co-signed the loan 6 years ago when I couldn't get approved on my own. I've babied that thing ever since. Brian has been my best friend since sophomore year of high school. We played on the same JV basketball team, though only one of us could shoot, and it wasn't me. We drifted for a bit in college, but after he moved back home post-divorce, we picked up where we left off. Drinks on Fridays, game nights, late night, drives with bad music and worse advice. So when he asked to borrow my car last week, I didn't even hesitate. Man, just for a couple days, he said, pacing near my kitchen table. Mine's at the shop, and I've got that second interview in Frankfurt. You know I'd Uber if I could swing it. You sure it's just a couple days? I asked. He raised 3 fingers. Scout's honor. You're a lifesaver. That was Sunday. I didn't hear much Monday. Just a text. Made it. Interview went good, I think. You the best. Tuesday came and went. No updates. I figured he was just waiting on a callback. Wednesday night I got a voicemail. Something about staying with his cousin an extra day. He'd bring the car back Thursday afternoon. I didn't ask questions. That's what trust looks like, right? So when he finally dropped it off, and I saw the gas gauge slightly lower than I left it, the McDonald's bag stuffed under the passenger seat, and the faint scent of cologne I didn't recognize, I chalked it up to normal wear until the glove box. I opened it, meaning to shove in the sunglasses I'd just pulled off my head. But something was already there, taking up the space. A folded piece of glossy paper. Not mine. It was a printed itinerary from a place called Bluegrass Pines Resort and Cabins. 2-night stay. Check-in. Monday, 4 p.m. Check-out. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Guest name, Brian Caldwell. I stared at it like it might vanish if I blinked hard enough. Frankfurt? Second interview. The hell were you doing in a luxury cabin, Brian? I sat there, engine running, thinking about whether to call him, text him, or just crumple the paper and pretend it never happened. Instead, I took a photo and placed it back exactly how I'd found it, because I needed to know more. That night, I couldn't sleep. It wasn't the kind of sleeplessness that comes from caffeine or stress. It was the gnawing sort, the feeling you get when something's off and no one else notices. The ceiling fan spun quietly above me, and I kept replaying our last conversation. His voice had sounded off, not guilty, just too polished. Yeah. Man, it was a solid interview. Real sharp office, small team, felt good vibes, he'd said. They're gonna get back to me soon. At the time, I didn't catch it. Now, every word felt rehearsed. I pulled out my phone and Googled Bluegrass Pines. It was exactly what it sounded like. A rustic luxury experience 2 hours away in Somerset. Not cheap. They had cabins with hot tubs, fireplaces, and spa packages. Interview my ass. Next morning, I called out of work. I told my supervisor I had a family emergency. He didn't ask questions. I'm not the type who abuses sick days. By 10 a.m., I was on the road heading towards Somerset. I didn't have a plan. I just knew something didn't add up. Brian had borrowed my car dozens of times before. Quick grocery runs, errands, once for a weekend trip to see his aunt in Cincinnati. But he never lied about where he was going. This time, he had. And that paper in the glove box, the one with the Bluegrass Pines header, wasn't just a mistake. It was a breadcrumb. The drive down was quiet. No music. Just the hum of the road and the thoughts getting louder in my head. I kept picturing scenarios. Best case. He went with his cousin for some mental reset and just didn't want to say anything. Worst case. He used my car for something he didn't want me connected to. Worse than worst case, he took someone else. Someone who wasn't just a cousin. I arrived in Somerset around noon. The resort sat tucked between trees like a postcard. Wooden cabins with dark green roofs, gravel walkways, tiny swing sets, and a lodge with a wraparound porch. I parked across the road in a gas station lot and walked over on foot. At the front desk, a woman in her 40s greeted me with a smile. "Checking in?" she asked. "No, just had a question. My brother stayed here this week. Brian Caldwell?" Her smile didn't fade. "Let me see." She tapped a few keys. "Ah, yes. Cabin 4. Checked out Wednesday morning. Lovely stay." "Did he happen to leave anything behind?" She shook her head. "Not that I'm aware of. But you can check Lost and Found. It's in the lodge office." I thanked her and walked out. Not toward Lost and Found. Toward Cabin 4. It was unlocked. Probably. Cleaned, not yet rebooked. I stepped inside and immediately felt out of place. The air still smelled faintly of lavender. The bed was made, but the bathroom light was on. Towels folded neatly. Champagne cork on the counter. Champagne. Brian doesn't drink champagne. We drank Miller Lite at his divorce party. There were 2 toothbrushes in the bin by the sink. One was purple. And unless he'd suddenly started brushing with lavender crest, someone else had been here. I took photos. Cork, toothbrush, receipt tucked behind the coffee machine for room service breakfast. Blueberry pancakes for 2. Then I heard a door creak. I was halfway through stepping backward toward the door when the creak hit, subtle but clear, coming from the bedroom down the hall. I didn't stop. My foot hovered mid-air, every muscle in my leg buzzing with a thousand questions I wasn't ready to answer. The air inside the cabin shifted. Suddenly it was too quiet, like even the walls were waiting to see what I'd do next. There shouldn't have been anyone here. I'd parked blocks away, walked in, slow, no staff had followed me. This place was supposed to be empty. But now there was movement. Another creak, closer. I backed toward the front door, quietly, deliberately, palms open at my sides, just in case I needed to explain why some random guy was snooping through a resort cabin he hadn't paid for. That's when I heard the voice. A woman's voice. Sharp, impatient. "Brian, I told you to grab the—" She stopped mid-sentence. My eyes met hers before my brain could register the rest of her. Tall. Dark curly hair tied back. Leggings, tank top, holding a set of folded towels. Not Brian. Not anyone. I recognized. We both froze. She blinked first. "Oh, sorry, I thought, wait, who are you?" I raised both hands instinctively, like I was being pulled over. I thought the cabin was empty. I'm not here for you. I was just... She narrowed her eyes. You're not Brian's cousin, are you? No, I said slowly, heart racing. I'm his best friend. A silence dropped between us like a hammer. She didn't move, didn't speak, just slowly lowered the towels to the table and stared at me like I'd said something explosive. Finally, so you're Nate. It hit like a slap. She knew my name. We sat on opposite ends of the cabin sofa, two strangers nursing invisible bruises from the same wound. Her name was Melissa, and according to her, she'd been seeing Brian for almost 2 months. Knew he had a complicated past, she said, fingers tapping the ceramic mug she'd filled with stale coffee from the resort's machine. But he told me he was staying with his cousin temporarily. Said he'd had a rough year, divorce, job stuff. Said you were helping him get back on his feet. I nodded numbly. That part's true. Or was. She laughed bitterly. And I believed him. God, I even offered to pay for this trip. He said he'd take care of it, show me he was serious. Said he had a second interview in town. I stared at the table. He told me the same thing, except he said it was in Frankfurt. Funny, she said, standing up and pacing toward the window. He told me it was in Lexington. We both sat with that for a moment. Different cities, same lie, different people, same manipulation. Melissa walked over to the small trash bin under the sink and pulled something out. A red bow. Cheap, frilly, the kind you stick on a gift bag. He gave me earrings, she said, holding it up. Told me they were from his grandmother's collection. Said it was the first time he'd given jewelry to someone since his marriage ended. I didn't need to say it. The earrings were probably from a pawn shop, or worse, stolen. She sat down again, this time closer. Not intimately, just two people piecing together a puzzle neither of us asked to be part of. Can I ask you something? She said. I nodded. Did he ever seem lonely to you? Like the kind of lonely that doesn't just come from being alone? I swallowed. Brian's always been good at wearing whatever mask people needed to see. You know the type. Funny in public. Thoughtful when he wants something. But behind closed doors. She finished the sentence for me. He's empty. We exchanged numbers. She didn't want revenge. She just wanted clarity. So did I. Back home, I waited 3 days before confronting him, not out of fear, out of strategy. I needed to see how long he'd let the lie ride out. I didn't hear from him Friday. Saturday, he texted, "You around Sunday? Want to grab wings and catch the game?" Like nothing happened. Like my car hadn't been used as his getaway. Vehicle for a secret vacation with a woman he pretended to love. I texted back, "Sure, come by my place around 2. He showed up late, 2:27 p.m., wearing the same gray hoodie he'd had on in his last Instagram story. The one from a gas station, captioned "Fueling up for life." I let him in, didn't say much, just handed him a beer, turned on the game, and let the silence fill the gaps. Finally, midway through the second quarter, I said it. I went for a drive Thursday night. Something in the Glovebox caught my eye. He, froze mid-sip. "Glovebox?" he echoed, trying to play casual. I turned to face him fully. "You left the resort itinerary in there. Bluegrass Pines, cabin 4. His face fell in slow motion. Not from shock, from exposure. The mask cracked. "Nate, listen. You lied to me." He set the beer down with a hollow clink. "It wasn't what you think," he said, palms up like that would buy him time. Melissa and I didn't know how to tell you. You've always been the one who had your life together. I just wanted one thing that was mine. I stared. That was my car, Brian. I know. You put over 600 miles on it. Never asked if it was okay. And then you came back with gas missing and a story that didn't match reality. He winced. I meant to fill it. Look, I screwed up. But you gotta believe me, man. I didn't mean to drag you into it. You didn't drag me in, I said. You used me. There's a difference. We sat in silence. The game played on, background noise for a friendship cracking like old paint. Finally, I stood. You need to leave. Nate, I'm serious. I'm done. That night he called 5 times. Then he switched to texts. You're blowing this out of proportion. I said I was sorry. She meant something to me. You're choosing a stranger over your best friend? I didn't reply. Not because I didn't have words, but because I didn't want to waste them anymore. Monday morning, I booked a detailing service for the car. It wasn't about cleanliness. It was about reclaiming something that had been used. To carry someone else's secrets. I drove it to the lot myself, left it with the team, and walked a few blocks to a diner I hadn't been to in years. Ordered pancakes. Black coffee. Halfway through my plate, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I picked up. Is this Nathan Miller? Yes. This is Officer Perry from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. We have some questions regarding a 2013 Honda Accord, registered in your name. Do you have a minute? Sir, can you confirm that you gave anyone permission to drive your car last week? The question felt simple, but nothing about that moment was. Yes, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I lent it to my friend, Brian Caldwell. There was a pause on the other end. I sat at the diner's counter, fork in midair, coffee cooling beside me. The pancakes had gone cold 10 minutes ago, but that was the least of my concerns. The officer finally spoke again. And you're aware? He used the vehicle in Pulaski County? Somerset, right? I said. He told me he had an interview down there. I later found out that wasn't true. There was a longer pause this time, like he was checking notes or pulling something up. Mr. Miller, I'll be candid with you. Your vehicle was captured on a traffic cam near a restricted access road around Bluegrass Pines Resort. That area had a reported theft early Tuesday morning. What kind of theft? I asked, heart rate rising. Nothing violent, he said quickly, but significant. One of the cabin units reported stolen property, a designer handbag, some jewelry, and about $400 in cash. The description of the car matches yours. I blinked. My friend used the car. I didn't even know he went to a resort until after. He softened his tone. We're not accusing you of anything at this point, but we'll need to get a statement, and it might help if we can take a look at the vehicle. I glanced through the diner window. My car was still across the street, parked in front of the detailing place. I can bring it to the station. Appreciated. We're just gathering facts right now. And if your friend reaches out again, it's best not to delete any messages. I nodded, mostly to myself. Understood. Back at the detailing lot, I canceled the deep clean. The guy was already halfway through vacuuming the back seat when I pulled the keys from my pocket. Something wrong? He asked, wiping his hands. Change of plans. I need to get the car looked at by someone else. He didn't press. I drove straight to the sheriff's office, 30 miles outside Somerset. It was one of those squat brick buildings with peeling signs and a vending machine just inside the glass door. Officer Perry met me at the front desk. Mid-40s, short-cropped hair, and the kind of calm demeanor that could be either reassuring or terrifying, depending on context. He walked me through a quick statement process, when I last saw the car, who had access, what I knew about Brian's trip. He asked if I'd ever heard of Melissa. Yes, I said. I met her, at the cabin. She thought he was someone else. Perry nodded, scribbling. She was the one who filed the theft report. Didn't suspect Brian at first, but some things didn't add up. I swallowed. Like what? She thought she'd misplaced her bag, but when she texted Brian about it, he ghosted her. Then, she realized the earrings he gave her didn't match the ones in the box. The original pair was missing. She found a different, cheaper set in its place. I shook my head. Jesus. She said you came by the cabin? Only after I found out about the resort. I needed to know why he lied. He looked up from his notepad. You got any reason to think your friend might have done something like this before? I hesitated. Because that's when it hit me. 6 months earlier, I'd helped Brian move out of his ex's place. She'd thrown out his boxes, scattered his stuff across the driveway like it was trash day. He'd asked me to come with the car and help him haul what he could salvage. We'd filled the trunk with clothes, books, a couple electronics, and a vintage watch his grandfather left him. Except, later that night, he told me he sold the watch. I needed the cash, he said. Don't look at me like that. I had looked at him like that, because I remembered I'd seen that same watch on his wrist a week after. He claimed it was a gift from someone else. I didn't push back at the time. It felt petty. But now it looked like a pattern. I told Officer Perry everything. He took more notes. Thanks for being honest, he said. We're not charging you with anything, but don't be surprised if we call again. In the meantime, if you hear from Mr. Caldwell, I'll let you know. Brian didn't reach out that night, but I knew he would. He'd never been good at silence, especially when cornered. He texted me at 11:04 a.m. the next morning. Hey, I think Melissa's tripping. Did she say something to you? I didn't respond. At 2:16 p.m. Another message. Yo man, I'm serious. She's overreacting. I didn't take anything. You gotta believe me. Then a third. Nate, they're saying crazy stuff about me. Please, just call. I turned off my phone. It buzzed again later. Voicemail this time. His voice cracked halfway through. Bro, I messed up, okay? I know I did. But you're the only one who still knows who I am. Please don't let them twist this. Please. Didn't delete it. But I didn't reply either. That weekend, I went to Melissa's apartment. She let me in, offered tea. There were boxes stacked in the corner. She was moving out. He's poisoned this city for me, she said flatly. Every gas station I pass, I wonder if he's been there. Every damn Honda Accord I see, I flinch. I got it. She showed me what she'd found. The fake earrings, a nearly identical pair purchased from a thrift store. The original ones were likely pawned. I called the pawn shops in a 30-mile radius, she said. One of them had a match, but no name on the receipt, paid in cash. I nodded. Officer Perry mentioned they're building a case. She looked at me carefully. And you? What about me? Are you okay? I hadn't been asked that in a while. I exhaled. I don't know. I thought I knew who he was. Now I'm not sure if I ever did. She poured more tea. Welcome to the club. We sat like that for a while. Two people trying to stitch up the same wound. Monday morning I got a call from Officer Perry again. They issued a warrant, he said. We've got probable cause. If we locate Mr. Caldwell, he'll be brought in for questioning. Do you think he'll run? We don't know, but we'll keep you posted. In the meantime, stay reachable. That night, I dreamed about the glove box. Not what it held, but what it meant. A truth folded small, shoved away, waiting for someone to care enough to open it. I used to think loyalty was about how much you could overlook, how much you could forgive, how many passes you could hand out before you finally started looking like the fool in your own story. Turns out, I passed that line months ago. Maybe years. I just didn't want to see it. The warrant went public by Wednesday. I didn't find out from Officer Perry. I found out when a mutual friend, Josh, sent me a screenshot of a local bulletin post on Facebook. A grainy photo of Brian, half smile and messy hair, captioned, Pulaski County Sheriff's Office seeks info on Brian Caldwell, suspected in connection with a resort theft. Last seen driving a gray 2013 Honda Accord, already recovered. If you have any information, contact. The comments were already turning. Wait, is this the same Brian who used to work at J&H Wireless? He dated my friend last year and ghosted her out of nowhere. I knew he was shady. He borrowed my dad's mower and never gave it back. Didn't respond to Josh. Didn't need to. What was I supposed to say? Yeah, he borrowed my car to cheat and steal, and now I'm basically an accessory to a Hallmark-level heist? I kept quiet. Melissa, though. Melissa didn't. On Thursday night, she posted a thread on her own Facebook, public. It was calm, composed, no rants, just the truth. Photos of the cabin, the earrings, the replacement pair, the resort receipt with Brian's name, her text screenshots, her bank transaction showing the deposit she'd Venmo'd him for weekend groceries, which he'd clearly used for gas and booze instead. At the end, she wrote, I'm not posting this for pity. I'm posting it so no other woman falls for the same stories. You deserve to know what deception looks like up close, and how easily it borrows your car, your time, and your trust. It went semi-viral. Not nationwide, but enough to cause ripples. Brian's old co-workers shared it. So did his ex-wife. Apparently she'd been quiet about their divorce out of embarrassment. Now she finally added a comment. He told me I made him feel small. But all I ever did was ask for rent on time. Glad people are seeing it now. Friday night, Brian showed up at my door, unannounced. I didn't even hear his car. Maybe he walked. Maybe someone dropped him off. All I know is I opened the door to take out the trash and there he was. Backpack slung low. Hoodie pulled tight. Face gaunt. Eyes like someone who'd gone a few nights without real sleep. Nate, he said. My jaw clenched. You shouldn't be here. I had nowhere else to go. That's not my problem anymore. He took a shaky breath. They're gonna twist it. The cops, the stories online. They're painting me like I'm some kind of con artist. Crossed my arms. Are you not? That's not fair. Brian, I said slowly. You used my car to lie to your girlfriend. You lied to me. You stole from her. You ghosted her when she asked questions. And now you're on the run. I didn't steal. I blinked. What? His voice dropped. I didn't take her stuff. I swapped it. You what? He stepped closer. The earrings? Yeah, I replaced them. But I didn't take cash. I didn't take the bag. I needed something nice to give her. Something that made it feel real. I thought if I pulled it off, maybe I'd believe it too. You replaced her real earrings with a thrift store knockoff, I said slowly. That is stealing, Brian. He went quiet. I stared at him, trying to find the guy I used to know. The kid who stayed up playing Mario Kart until 3 a.m. The guy who drove an hour to help me move when my dad had surgery. The best man at my sister's wedding. But all I saw was someone who mistook survival for permission. You can't stay here, I said, stepping back inside. Please. Brian, they issued a warrant. I know. You need to turn yourself in. He exhaled through his nose. If I do that, it's over. It's already over. I closed the door. I didn't lock it right away. I just stood behind it, hand hovering, waiting for some kind of sound, a retreating footstep, a muffled curse, a breakdown. Nothing. Just silence. Eventually, I turned the lock. I reported the visit the next morning. Officer Perry met me in a grocery store parking lot. Neutral ground. He showed up? He asked. Last night. Around 9:30. He left when I told him to. Any idea where he went? No. You sure he didn't say anything? I paused. He said he didn't steal. Said he just swapped things. Like that made it okay. Perry scribbled. That might come up later. For now, thanks for letting us know. You did the right thing. I didn't feel like I had. I felt like I just shut the door on someone drowning. But what was I supposed to do? Jump in after him? Melissa called. That night. Did he come to you? Yeah. What did he say? That he didn't mean for any of this to happen. That he just wanted something that felt like his. She was quiet. Then, he texted me, said he was sorry, said he loved me. I waited, and I blocked him. We didn't speak for a long time after that, just sat on the line, breathing together. Sunday afternoon, I walked past my car and stopped. The glove box was latched again. Same clean snap, but I opened it anyway. Nothing inside, just the manual, my insurance card, a pen that didn't work. Still, I reached in, felt around, as if I'd find something new, a clue, a confession, a clean ending. There was nothing, and yet I kept looking. The glove box wasn't heavy, just hollow, but the damage it contained, folded in ink and silence, had already tipped the weight of a friendship I thought was unshakable. What started as a simple ask, "Can I borrow your car?" for a couple days, ended with a detective's business card on my kitchen counter and more questions than I'd ever wanted to ask myself. 2 weeks passed before I heard from the sheriff's office again. I'd started to believe maybe Brian had slipped through. The cracks vanished into some corner of Kentucky, hitching rides and spinning new stories like a stray dog searching for open doors. But they found him. Picked him up outside Bardstown, Officer Perry said on the phone. Sleeping in the back of an old Dodge behind a mechanic shop. One of the guys recognized him from the bulletin. What happens now? He's being held. Charges are pending. He's not talking much. I wanted to ask if he'd mentioned me. If he'd tried to twist the story, say I knew more than I did, drag me down with him. But I didn't. I just said thanks and hung up. Melissa and I met for coffee the next day. We weren't friends, not exactly. Not lovers either. Just two. People tied together by the wake of someone else's damage. I saw the update, she said. A friend of mine tagged me in the arrest post. I nodded. They said he's not talking. That tracks, she said, stirring her cup. He never did, not when it mattered. There was a pause. Then she asked, "Do you ever miss him?" The question caught me off guard. Not because I hadn't thought it, because I had, but because it made me realize I missed someone who never really existed. I missed the version I thought he was, I said. She gave a quiet, sad smile. Me too. A week later, I got a letter. In the mail, no return address, just my name. printed in careful all caps on the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of lined paper, torn from a notebook. No greeting, no sign-off, just 10 lines in messy handwriting I knew by heart. Nate, I know you probably burned this already, but if you didn't, thank you for not turning me in that night. You always saw more in me than I did. Maybe that's why I kept lying. I didn't take the money, I swear. I messed up, yeah. But I didn't steal the cash. I still have the receipt from that gift shop. Check the glove box. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just don't let this be the last chapter you write about me. B.I. stared at it for a long time. I didn't believe him, but I checked the glove box anyway, and there it was. A crumpled receipt from the Bluegrass Pines gift shop. Dated the same day Melissa said the money went missing. The item, wood-carved heart box, $22. It didn't prove anything, didn't clear him. But it was real, and maybe that was the point. Not to erase the lie, but to leave behind something, anything. He hadn't twisted. Eventually, I moved apartments. Not because of Brian, not entirely. But because I needed space that didn't echo. New walls, new keys, same car. I still drive that 2013 Honda Accord. Some days, I forget the glove box ever held anything more than napkins and tire rotation coupons. Other days, I remember everything. How easily trust folds into convenience. How friendship, even the deepest kind, can rot from the inside if no one's brave enough to name the smell. A few months later, I ran into Josh at a gas station. He asked if I'd heard the latest. Brian had taken a plea deal. Misdemeanor theft, probation, community service, no jail time. He's lucky, Josh said. Could have been way worse. I nodded. Then he asked, "You ever think about reaching out to him again?" "No," I said. "And I hope he doesn't reach out to me." "Still mad?" I shook my head. "Not mad, just done." Because that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't always come with screaming or slammed doors or courtroom speeches. Sometimes it comes folded inside a glove box, in the form of a friend's handwriting, or a woman's quiet heartbreak, or a moment you didn't realize was the last time you'd ever trust someone the same way again. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life confessions and emotional journeys like this one.